What up? Welcome back to Uncle Rico Storytime. It stinks so bad in here. It's like stale cigarettes. And I don't have a lighter anymore in here. I think the sex demon stole it. Yeah, I'll set this right here though to remind me to light some incense. I hadn't been in here since my last podcast, in which I was super drunk. Broke my computer off, left a buzz ball. Whew, those things are horrible. Though apparently everybody keeps saying it's the flavor. That's just a really bad flavor. Apparently all the other flavors are quite delicious. So who knows? We'll see. But yeah, I got pretty drunk in the last one. So this is kind of more of a summary, I guess. I'm being super... I don't want to go to the gym. So I spent all morning arguing online with people and procrastinating. So I figured I would rub one out. Rub a podcast out. Rub a pod out. Apparently another dude got killed protesting, and haven't seen the video or anything. Pulled up the first story, and the first comment was, they literally murdered him. They disarmed him, put him on his knees, and shot him. And I was like, you know what? I'm thinking if I watch this video, that's not what I'm gonna see. It's so amazing that we just see things so drastically different. And I disagree a lot with the right. I'm not religious. So, you know, I disagreed with Charlie Kirk's message almost, 60% of what he said, but I admired the way he did it. There's a difference between an assassination and going and picking a fight with cops. That's never a good idea. We have gotten into this situation where people that don't have anything in life are looking at this opportunity to become a martyr, and it's brave and courageous, but I mean, I get where their frame of mind is coming from. If you're looking at a future of, ODing or killing yourself, or maybe ending up in jail, going out and being memorialized is a way to go out. So, but either way, we are getting into this situation where people are picking fights with cops, and this is what's happening. And it's not going to get any easier. You're not going to get the federal government to become more compassionate. Never in history has that ever happened. You don't pick a fight with the governing entity and then expect them to go, yeah, let's talk about it. Let's have some milk and cookies and really kind of discuss and hash this things out. I want to understand where you're coming from. So I don't have any compassion. It's fucking gone, man. I watched a whole country, private citizens murdered, and their personal belongings burned up in riots from a drugged up criminal that was trying to pass a counterfeit bill. Should they have handled things differently? Yes, definitely. Is it a shame? Yes, definitely. But you know, you put yourself in that situation. I've had guns drawn on me by cops. I was a kid and was fucking running around with a toy gun, and we were gonna pretend to rob a Quick Trip, a gas station. It's fucking brilliant, right? Fifth and sixth graders pretending to fucking rob a gas station, like walking around the corner of the gas station with toy guns. Fucking brilliant. Um, So we pretended to run away and hide, and we saw a cop show up in the location, and so we ran and hid under mobile homes. And the next thing I know, the cops yelling at me, gun drawn, get the fuck out, drop the fucking weapon, and I dropped it right away. I said, I'm a kid. If I would have been like, fuck you can't make me do shit, that outcome is going to be different. It doesn't matter what color your skin is. And the worst thing about it is it doesn't matter what our skin is. It's not a fucking black and a white thing. It is a rich and a poor thing. We are not the same as these fucking politicians. They're in a different world. They all love each other. They're all friends. The fucking Clintons, the Bushes, the Trumps, the fucking Newsoms, their kids go to school with each other at Yale and Princeton and Harvard and Stanford. They were all in frats and sororities together. They all hang out together. There's like dinner pictures of the Trumps sitting with the Clintons, the Bushes with the Clintons. They are not like us. They are not like the middle class, the poor, even the rich. This is a level of rich people don't understand. It's all perspective. But the bad thing is once the media is weaponized, it's just there's so many simpletons that can get caught up and get fired up, that don't think, that are rash, that can't process things, that can't see big picture, that it's just going to get worse and worse. It'll get to the point I'm watching videos of like people shooting fireworks, the rockets, the candle, they're fucking shooting these things at the cops. God damn. If you do stupid shit, if you do criminal stuff, you immediately raise the percentages of you being shot or killed or murdered. I don't understand what the problem is. You can't stop a fucking vehicle by pushing against it. So why are you trying to protest that way? You know what happens when you pick a fight with a cop. So why are you trying to protest that way? Bottom line is I don't understand the protesting anyways. I'm all for my immigrant friends, minorities, coming in, doing it the right way. I admire that. But these, say 1 in 10 could be just a peaceful, nice, illegal immigrant that's just trying to live a better life. The other 9 are fucking criminals and bad criminals. Child predators. They're trying to serve warrants on and get rid of child predators and fucking kick them out of our country. And you are protesting the way that they're doing it. So, get on the dating app and like all the chicks on there have swine rings, and a lot of them are, no, Trump no Trump voters, no MAGA, no Trump supporters. Which is funny because you're 30 years old, overweight, unattractive or basic, kids, and you want to immediately cut your options in half, more than half, say 70%, 60%. Let's say 60% of men are Trump voters. Okay, so you're left with the 40% that can't change a tire, wear skinny jeans, vape, probably vegans. That may be exactly what you're looking for, but that is not what you're attracted to. That's why marriages fail. You marry a dude. I watched this with my buddy Teddy and my sister firsthand. You married a dude that liked to play hockey. And, when he was out there, he'd get in a fight every once in a while. That shit turned you on. And now you want him to go scrapbooking and go to the thrift market and watch all of your fucking girly shows and hold your purse and go shopping, and he can't hang out with his guys, he can't play football anymore, can't play fantasy football, you yell at him for all of that stuff. And then when you emasculate him, you cheat on somebody who's more macho, the fucking gardener or the pool boy. Or, in this case, I'm not going to say that, that's mean. In this case, it was the guy that broke all the records in my hometown. Let's just dig at my older sister. Yeah, fuck. I just don't get it. It's never been this. I mean, I wasn't around dating in the 80s, but I'm sure people weren't like, no Republicans. I won't date a Democrat. People didn't give a shit about politics. And that's what's even more funny. Is the people that didn't give a shit about politics are now die hard about politics. And the only thing that has changed is that we finally got a guy who's not a puppet in. Okay? So when we had this period of just everybody cares about keeping... Okay, so every politician cares about two things. Keeping their seat or advancing, and making money. That's across the board, every single politician. When I went to school, when I was a sophomore, I went out to Stanford University I was a small town, I grew up in a small town in Wisconsin, went out to a Stanford University for a political science seminar. I wanted to be a politician. That was actually something that I found interesting, is out of all the jobs that I revile and have the least amount of respect for right now, I wanted to be at one point. I wanted to be a politician. I wanted to be a lawyer. I wanted to be a teacher. I wanted to be a cop. That's funny. But I went out to this political science seminar, and this professor took me out to lunch afterwards, and he said, hey, you really want to make a difference, don't you? I said, yes. And he goes, you can't get into politics. And I was like, wow, that's, what are you talking about? And he said, well, the minute that you are elected to a position, you start taking money, just donations for your campaign and for whatever you're doing. At that point, you're a puppet. You don't know it at that point, but at that point, you're controlled by the purse strings of whoever's donating the amount of money and everything like that. And it crushed me when I was a kid, and I've always followed politics, but obviously that drove me away from it. And I never really understood about what he was talking about until I got older, obviously. And just knowing, like, all these movies that we watch, we've always wanted a common man, and obviously the evil orange man, Trump, is not the common man, but he is the first man who isn't controlled by purse strings, by lobbyists. And this is ultimately what we've been looking for the longest time. So in this sense, who knows, maybe the 70s or so is when politicians really started thinking about money and not helping their constituents, right? So let's say the 60s, 70s is when that started happening. Okay, because right now I think both people can agree you can't trust a goddamn politician to save their life, right? And if you think otherwise, you're a fucking idiot. So let's say the 60s, 70s is when politicians started getting crooked and really just worried about themselves. Okay? So since that time, we've been looking for someone to change that, but then also don't give a shit. Okay? And now that we have that guy, we give a shit, but we have turned on him and want to get rid of him. And I think that is fuck would be hilarious if it wasn't so fucking scary. And that is the weaponization of the media. I saw it because I study this stuff. I know that if the media, if you go back and look at stuff, even at the beginning of coverage, Fox was kind of making fun of Trump. Um, it was always, it wasn't any, even when they had to concede and finally support him, it was showing you all these crazy celebrities that have these crazy views about Trump and showing all these people that they never showed positive stuff. It wasn't Trump did this. It may seem like it, but it wasn't. You'd have to fight for that kind of information. You know, the good stuff that he did for HBCUs and environmentalists and stuff like that. You have to fight for that information. You don't realize what is happening by but showing you all of those videos of those celebrities that are like, there's no way he's going to get elected. I'll move away. You know, da 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 da. If you're a smart individual, you go, okay, you're a fucking crazy nut job celebrity, and you're totally different from me. You don't know what it's like to be me. But getting that over and over into your head, it does. I saw it firsthand. My mom and stepdad were Trump supporters the first election. By the second election, they were like, we're done. We want that fucker out. We don't want 4 more years of this. We just want him fucking gone. When that gets beat into your head, it wears you down. If you're simpleton, it's easy. Even if you are more of a big picture thinker, they'll get you. I watched both of those elections. Should have not been even close if the media was bipartisan. It's not. I studied it. If you had there were so many subtle things that I caught on to. Before the second election, they started advertising on the news channels like a year beforehand to get out and vote. It was all over the NBA. Couldn't see it anywhere in the NHL, or NASCAR. There weren't ads to tell you to get out and vote during the NASCAR race. There's political shit, Budweiser with the American flag and stuff, but nobody was immobilizing you in those demographics that don't fit the liberal agenda. But I was watching it. The NBA, they would put it on their jerseys. It was on the halftime seal. Athletes were talking about it. Hey, we got to get out and vote next July to make a change. It was impressive. It's an impressive machine. But yeah, it's just it is unprecedented for me, and we live in just an age where information is at our fingertips. All you got to do is a couple of Googles, and you can tell whether or not something is right or wrong. I got into it with people this morning about the protesters. The one girl was right away brought up Jesus. Jesus would be ashamed, and I said no. Jesus was a rule follower. We have all these rules. You can't eat fish on Friday. You can't, no matter what religion you're in. There's all these fucking crazy rules. You can't just pick and choose. There's gates to heaven. You have to do stuff. I got into a fight with my brother-in-law and don't talk to him anymore because of the way that he thinks of me. We got drunk one night, and I said, hey man, I do volunteer. I do big brother, big uh, little brother, big sister volunteer stuff. Go to soup kitchens and everything. You entrust me 100% with your kids, right? You trust me with your kids? He goes, yeah, I go, so when I die, where am I going? And he's like, man, don't make me say this. And I go, no, I think I want to make you say this. I want to talk about this. And he's like, well, obviously I haven't accepted Jesus Christ as your Savior, so you know where you're going. And I go, okay, so if I'm a good person and I don't say those words, we know where I'm going, okay, right? So if I'm a serial killer and raped all these victims, and on my deathbed I'm scared about dying, and I have a change of heart, and I accept Jesus Christ as my Savior, I'm going to heaven. And he goes, yes, as long as you wholeheartedly agree and accept Jesus into your life, you will be going to heaven. And I said, dude, that fucking sucks. And that doesn't sound like anything that I want to be a part of. Then when you throw in the fact that I'm going to get tortured to test my faith, fuck that. I go, I'm going to live as good as I possibly can, and if there is a higher power up there, he will know that I lived the better half of my life. He will know that I lived my adult life trying to make a positive change in the world. And I think that's going to be good enough to be redeemed or find salvation or go up to heaven, to where there's gates and where there's rules and where you can and can't get in and out of. That tangent being said, I obviously don't believe in religion. I think that there is something out there. There is something bigger than us. I think that there's a cosmic energy of that we're all connected somehow. But when it's one of the 117 different religions that all you have to do this or that in order to achieve our higher thing, I don't ascribe to that. Okay, now when people defend these the ICE protesters, they always bring up their religion. Well, okay, there's fucking rules in religion. If somebody sneaks into heaven, do they get to fucking stay there? Or do they get kicked out when God fucking finds out that he didn't say Jesus Christ is my Savior? Okay? If I sneak over the gate and I'm in heaven for 8 years and I'm a nice guy and I've been running a bakery and I got kids, does it change things that I'm there illegally? I don't get to stay. God's not like, okay, it's cool. If that's what you ascribe to in your religion, then it has to stand up in real life, dummy. You can't just be like, that's okay, I think. We'll sprinkle in a little bit of coveting thy neighbor's wife also. Why not? It's a Thursday. The fuck kind of ideology is that? That's ultimately my problem with religion anyways, is fucking hypocrites. You can't have a vessel for being good and then allow evil in and hide it. Got a little problem with that. My brother-in-law's brother, who I admired very much, ran into some problems when he was in church. Back home, his wife started cheating on him out in the open in the church. And my sister was telling me the story, and I'm like, God damn, so you booted him out of the church? She's like, no, we pray about it. Holy shit! These people were all, I don't know what they're called, but they're like just people that go to church that then mentor other people, like leaders or whatever. I'm sure there's a religious name for it. But my sister, my brother-in-law, his brother, his wife, the dude that she cheated on him with, they were all these theological studiers that would have these group meetings and be leaders. So two of them, out of wedlock, cheated on each other. And the church is like, we're going to pray on it. So fast forward to brother-in-law's brother, having to do this by himself, probably feeling ostracized by the church that he gave so much to, and probably being confused as to why they would support that kind of stuff, ended up killing himself in a horrible, horrific way. And then, there's the obvious, molestation issues in the Catholic Church. I almost went to, that was another job that I wanted to be, is I actually thought that I was going to be a priest when I was a kid. I wanted to go away to a seminary. It was called St. Lawrence Seminary. And I think I was like, it was for high school, so it would have been like it would have been 7th or 8th grade when I started looking into this, and decided not to go. And then like 2 years later I find out that there was a priest molesting a bunch of kids. It would have never been me. I was too much of a little shithead. Predators and pedophiles prey on the weak, the people that the kids that wouldn't speak up, and that definitely wouldn't be me. But just to know that I went through, orientation with some of these kids that got, that changed, that went through an experience that changed their lives, is just heartbreaking. So I got no time for institutions that hide monsters. That's my problem with religion. Believe me, we'll have a whole potty on religion. That's what I'm going to call these podcasts. Potty. A little potty. We'll rub out a potty. I was watching live TV on my Superbox and saw an ad for Ozempic, and tuned it off, considering that America is highly it is sucking at the big pharma teat. 41% of the world, I say this stat a lot, but it's important for everybody to hear it, 41% of the world's pharma sales are in the US. Next closest one is China with 8%. That is fucking unbelievable. We worry why we are getting medical problems that our doctors can't diagnose. I don't know what the stats are, but I know that when you talk about kids being on the spectrum and everything, it's tough to talk about because a lot of countries don't diagnose and stuff like that. So stats are always, you can always argue for and against it. But boy, I don't remember, as a kid growing up, I don't remember that many kids that were on the spectrum. There was a very small class of special students, and that's, I think, a lot more today. I meet a lot more parents that have special children. Either way, Big Pharma, watching this commercial for Ozempic, and I hear the shit afterwards, the side effects. And they just got worse and worse. It was like nausea, diarrhea, blindness, stroke, death, paralysis. And I'm like, holy shit, I have not heard a list of side effects like this before. Normally they sneak one or two in, you know. Your balls may disappear. You may lose your head. Decapitation, possible. But this was a list of like nasty shit. And so I watched to get to the end, and I was like, okay, this has got to be like, I don't know, multiple sclerosis or Hodgkin's disease or a possible chance to cure cancer. Ozempic was for fucking clearer skin. People are taking this drug to clear up their skin that may give them blindness, seizures, blah, 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 whatever. Like, maybe that doesn't happen to you. That shit is in your body. You're taking it as, God, I don't know, man. Like, transferring that, if you want to have a kid, suicide. There was one, it was suicide. One of the side effects was suicide. And it was at the very end where it was like, you know, there were a few cases where there was suicide involved with this drug. For clearer skin, holy shit. Yeah, so that's what's going on in the world today. We are just taking whatever they want to give us. Sex demon was resolved. I'm sure I talked about this on my last podcast, but I was drunk. I still think it's funny that my first idea for this podcast was originally going to be me getting fucked up interviewing outsiders, people outside the mainstream, homeless, veterans, hookers, addicts, stuff like that, just to get different perspectives. You know, minorities that have faced shit, not racist stuff, but overcome stuff. But yeah, that was my first idea, and I was going to be fucked up when I did it. And it's always funny when I do a fucked up podcast because I watch it and I'm like, this is absolutely unwatchable. But I posted it anyways. But yeah, Sex Demon has been resolved. Turns out she is just a raging alcoholic. She drank all of my shit. I told her I've had the bipolar issues. When I thought she was bipolar, I wanted to help her because I know that I'm not diagnosed, but I know that I struggle with something like that. I've got my animated project, Bipolar Bears, which is paramount in the mental health theme. I think we all have a little bit of, you know, good and bad, crazy, insane in us. It's just, you know, to what level. But I wanted to help her for that. When I found out about the alcoholism, my initial reaction was to help her with that also, because of my childhood best friend, Ryan Rapprager, who I lost, who I struggle with. And now his older brother, Matt, is going through the same thing, and I've reached out to Matt and, well, to his friends to try to see if I could, you know, help him or get him out here. And I feel like I'm gonna lose him also, so I thought about possibly helping her out. And then when I saw all the crushed up beer cans and everything around the bed, I'm like, I can't do this. I've had too many. My kitchen manager at my restaurant was an alcoholic, man. They fuck shit up and they lie. It's different from like an addict. I feel like addicts, you can see what they're doing. You know, alcoholics are fucking sneaky and two-faced, and I just can't do it. I'm on a work site, so it's, you know, liability. So I sat her down and I told her if she goes into rehab, alcohol, inpatient, fights it, goes to meetings, this is her last sip of alcohol. I will give her a shot or two before she goes into treatment, but after that, it's no more alcohol for life. She'll slip up, she'll have relapses, but you're done drinking. You have a problem. You can't ever socially have just a drink. You are done drinking alcohol. You go to meetings, you get out, I'll let you clean out the RV and you can live in my RV somewhere. We can park it somewhere and you can figure out what to do for lot rent. It's not much at all. That will give you a place, but I will be checking in with you and make sure that you're clean. I don't care if you smoke pot or do whatever, but from now on you can't drink alcohol anymore. Or I will drive you to a hotel right now and you can give it a go. Keep doing what you're doing, because it seems like your family's turned on you, your friends have turned on you because of your drinking. I'm going to turn my back on you now, and I was in a lifeline that you will never get in life. You are never going to get somebody who barely knows you to help you out in this way, in a non-sexual way. You were actually throwing yourself at me and I was refusing you. You can give this a go and hope that another me comes along and that he doesn't get fed up with you getting retarded drunk and coming into his room every 30 seconds to try to rape him. You may find him, who knows. But I gave her the 2 ultimatums. You can go through treatment and actually fight this and I will help you, or I'll take you to a hotel. I go think about it. This is a huge decision. You can, go into your room, take as much time as you want. She went into her room. About 2 hours later, she came out and tried to say something or look cute or do something, and I go, no. I sent you in there for a reason to think about stuff. What is your decision? And she said right away, she goes, I'll go to a hotel. So, took her to a hotel. So, good luck, sex demon. Hockey's been rough. The hand is not good. I didn't realize that if it's in the right place, it hurts real bad. So, thinking about trying to change hands, go back to stick and basket. But yeah, it's been frustrating. Work's been frustrating. My bosses are idiots. I'm sure I talked about this when I was drunk, but end of 21st of December. Okay, so my work is trying to get me to do all these different apps, and I'm like, some of them I will. Okay, I'll do it. Me and my customer service rep have a great relationship. I can just text her, boom, we're taking care of shit. We got no problems, right? So my bosses are mad that I'm not using the app for vacancies. Mind you, I'm one of maybe 2 caretakers. I think the other caretaker is doing it the way that they want. I'm not. So they are mad at me. I don't know. This is what I think. Okay? So, middle of December, they send me an email that says, hey, your girl Sarah is not going to be, or your girl Judy is not going to be your care agent anymore. This idiot Josh is going to be your guy from now on. Can't contact him directly. All stuff needs to be through Notify. If there's anything that isn't tasked out in Notify, you can email them at this link. So they won't even give me his cell number. So I'm like, okay, I get it. This is what you want to do. Huge overreaction, but fine. I'll start doing Notify. So I reach out to Kelly and I say, hey, how do you want to work these vacancies? There's a lot of vacancies. I'm not going to do a single fucking I'm not going to go in and do a single task for each vacancies. Like sometimes I'll have 10 or 15 vacancies in a day. And didn't get a response from her. So on the 21st of December, I put in a notify thing and I said, for this location, December vacancies. This other location, December vacancies. And then my third location, December vacancies. And I put in an entry, I put in the comment, this unit is vacant and available. And then I put in there also to my boss, I said, Kelly, I think this might be the best way for us to do it. Just do bulk vacancies. We can do every week. That way we can run through, double check, people can access them. Is there anything you want me to change here with this format? Didn't hear anything. So I finished up December. I get into January. I start a new task, 3 tasks for 3 locations. January vacancies. I hit, I think maybe the 10th of January. And Kelly talks to me on the phone, doesn't say anything, and then gets me to do something, and then immediately after that she comments, you need to go through and take pictures of these units that are vacant in order for us to process them. And I go, no, I already did it. I saw that they're vacant. It's been 2 weeks. I asked you if I should do anything different. Let's just process them. I'm not going to go through and open up all the doors just to take pictures of the things. You guys need to trust me that I'm competent and know that it was vacant. Let's just roll. I'll take pictures from here on out. And she transfers them to Josh, my employee. Oh, that was the other thing, is on the comment, I was like, hey, I can't take Josh. And so I was messaging him, I was like, hey, I can't take Josh. I know you guys are upset about this. How do you want me to do this? Still getting no response. So that's why I ended up tasking my boss, Kelly, in the first place. Because they forced me to do it this certain way and then didn't allow me to do it that certain way. So sent it to Kelly. Kelly, when she gets back, sends me the comment and then sends it to Josh. And then Josh gets on there and comments. And he says, we can't process these until you take a picture of it empty. Do not transfer this task to anybody else. Okay, go fuck yourself. That's when I was like, okay, it's on, motherfuckers. And I was like, no, I asked 3 weeks ago if I should do anything different, So I started to do some research, kind of get into stuff. I call somebody and find out. I was like, hey, was Kelly around for Christmas? No, she wasn't here for Christmas. I go, was Kelly around for New Year's Eve? No, she wasn't here for New Year's Eve. I go, okay, so Kelly took 3 fucking weeks off, came back and had a load of shit to deal with, and is trying to blame it on us again. Fuck this. So then my girl Judy says, no, this came down as a dictate from higher up, and I find out, so I finally put together that she went and got somebody to email to bolster her position just so she can kind of get a paper trail of my obstinance. This is what I think Kelly is planning on. So now what I am doing is I am still not going to process those other, there's no fucking way I'm taking pictures, right? And it's turned into this pissing match. So they're basically saying, you know what, we're going to piss off our customers and not process these unless you do what we say and go back and redo your work. And I'm like, okay, go ahead. I'm ready. I'm waiting to get fired anyways. So since then, I've started to go through, and the new vacancies, then I'm taking a picture just like they asked. No big deal. So I'm taking a picture of the new vacancies, and it is now the 24th of January. Okay, and I'm thinking if I take a few more pictures of vacancies with pictures on, it's going to placate them enough to not realize that I still haven't done the pictures of the old units, and I'm not going to. So that'll bring me into February. At that point, the company will be sitting on 1.5 months of status updates. People trying to move out cannot. I think if anybody looks into these tasks, her paper trail, they're gonna see these comments from me also. They've got to. I mean, if you want to go through the paper trail and find out why somebody wasn't doing their job, you're gonna look at the comments. So like one of my comments says, like, no, I'm not gonna go through and pick, like, you guys made me do all this bullshit work when I was on bed rest that we didn't even utilize. It was meaningless. You made me do the stupid color coding lock thing, which turns out was Kelly's idea. Which, we've gone back to meaningless. We've gone back to interspersing locks. Honestly, this sounds like one of our bosses took a bunch of time off and realized that the way that she was trying to do things was a whole hell of a lot of work, and she's now lashing out at us. So I get a phone call from Kelly, and I don't answer it. It's a voice message. And she's such a fucking idiot. She tries to sound smart, but then isn't smart. So it's just a minute and a half of her going around and around saying the same thing. Hi, Nick. This is Kelly. I saw in the comment on Notify that you were getting off track about what we wanted you to do. And so this is to let you know that we don't need the comment. We just want you to do the task. So you can go in and just pull up the task and do that task, and then you don't have to do the comment or anything extra, any commentary or anything is unneeded, and you don't have to do that. Like if we put a task in, just look at the task itself and no there's no extra comment then has to be done. Just look at what is up there and address that, and then okay, you have no idea how much of a pain in the ass I'm going to be before I leave. So I've got just different layers of things, and if she does not do what I think she'll do, like a backup plan for her. So I'm just gonna make a wee bit of waves before I take off, my dear Kelly. Dumb bitch. Uncle Rico Storytime. Peace out.